Dear colleagues and students, following a period of sabbatical leave, I'm excited to return and resume duty as Vice-Chancellor effective from today, the 3rd of August 2020. The past 5 months since the first case of COVID-19 was identified in South Africa have been extraordinary for all of us. While I appreciated the quiet time to reflect and work undisturbed, I certainly missed the vibrancy of campus life and the interaction with colleagues and students. On this first day back in office, I want to warmly greet all our students, my colleagues in the academic, the professional, and the support sectors, our partners local and abroad, council members, and the extended University of the Western Cape family. As we faced in the return to campus during the different levels of the national lockdown period, some students and staff have returned to our respective campus sites, while a significant number continues to work and study remotely. In doing so, our fundamental goal is to protect the health and well-being of every member of the campus community. As many of you, I too fall into the category of identified staff required to work from home. I've been strongly advised to adhere to these protocols, and my office will take all the necessary steps to ensure that working from home does not compromise delivering on my responsibilities. It has been a strange sabbatical where nothing has gone according to plan. But then since early this year, not only UWC, but our country and the world had to adapt to the COVID-19 pandemic in unprecedented ways. It was difficult to remain focused on the objectives of my sabbatical and to try and remain uninvolved when the university and the country was gripped by this pandemic. I did, however, receive regular updates from colleagues and have continued to provide and support where required. I'm deeply appreciative of the leadership team that certainly stepped up during this time. In particular, I wish to commend Professor Vivian Lavac, who showed great courage and leadership during this time. It could not have been easy, and the university community should be grateful for her leadership. All of us are impacted by this pandemic. By now, most of us know someone who has tested positive. The university community has also been deeply affected. Several staff members, students and alumni have tested positive, and one of our staff members has succumbed to this virus. Several staff, students and alumni have also lost close family members to COVID-19. On behalf of our university community, I once again express our condolences to those affected in this way and to their loved ones. This is a time when our role as universities become more urgent. Our well-being as a university community is absolutely central to our mission and continued success. To remain resolute, how do we as a university community face this pandemic together? While this disease keeps us physically apart, it is in this moment in time that we must remember that UWC has faced adversity throughout its history and has always emerged stronger, united, and more resilient. Together we will endure. Let us, in the face of the silent, invisible and indiscriminate virus, demonstrate the triumph of the human spirit. We know and we can expect that our research program will be deeply affected. However, it has been pleasing to note how a range of disciplines, amongst others bioinformatics, PLAS, public health, the Dalla Omar Institute, and many others have worked tirelessly to advance the frontiers of knowledge through innovative research projects and webinars. I have no doubt that the scholarship of teaching and learning will similarly blossom as we begin to investigate and examine the new models of teaching, learning, and assessment. While talking about our new models of learning and teaching, I have to acknowledge the resilience and bravery of our students who have had to participate in flexible, multimodal learning and teaching. There is still a concerning number of students who have not been able to participate optimally. But together we will have to demonstrate resolve and innovation to ensure that no student is left behind. As an aside, preliminary data on research about students' concerns and worries have been shared with me. It is extremely gratifying that while you understandably have worries about how the coronavirus will impact you personally, quite a large number of your concerns and worries relate to broader issues such as the social and economic impact on the country, as well as the risk of a collapse of the health system. These are the kinds of graduate attributes that we as a university want to cultivate and nurture, a concern for the greater good that extends beyond the self. To demonstrate the triumph of the human spirit will require us to reimagine our common purpose, our interconnectedness, and improved ways to come together as a university community. I'm confident that we can do that. In moments like these, members of the UWC community know how to put differences of opinions aside for the greater good and to work in the best interests of this university. I especially want to thank the SRC and its affiliates, as well as the UWC Employees Union. Their participation and contributions to finding solutions for their peers to complete the academic year and to ensure that both our students and staff return to campus in a manner that complies with the necessary health and safety protocols have been invaluable. Running a huge organization like UWC via remote control is extremely difficult. I wish to personally thank each and every one of my colleagues who went to extraordinary lengths to ensure that the UWC machinery stayed well oiled. Our academic staff, our professional staff, and our support staff. Your loyalty and commitment will ensure that we get through this together. I know that the boundaries between work and family life have been breached by working from home, and that for many of you, this has been a difficult balancing act. I thank you for your sacrifices. Colleagues and students, make no mistake about it. The road ahead will be tough. It is inevitable that our financial situation will be weakened significantly. The national reprioritizing of funding, including higher education funding, for the purposes of the COVID-19 Relief Fund, the extraordinary expenses related to campus readiness regulations, and the inevitable loss of income will set us back for a number of years to come. My main priorities, and I hope I will have your support in this, include trying to prevent any job losses, to continue to find ways to support our students to be academically successful, to find ways to innovate in terms of teaching and learning as we face the reality of this new normal, and to ensure that our research continues to flourish and add to our standing nationally and internationally despite these unusual circumstances. This pandemic poses significant challenges, but it also presents us with unique opportunities to reset and rethink how we do things, including our approaches to the university's annual budget allocations. Finally, colleagues and students, we will demonstrate the triumph of the human spirit through caring and empathy. When I look ahead, what I see is a future that is uncertain, but it is a future that I'm confident we can navigate. Because as a university, we have unique values that are embedded in our history. And the most important of these values for me is that the DNA of the University of the Western Cape is embedded in a legacy of care. Our self-accepted duty of care is characterized by our deep commitment to social justice. Our duty of care resides in our proud record of community engagement. Our duty of care compels us now, in this time of the pandemic, to actively live and deepen the care of and empathy for our colleagues, our students, and the broader community. The economy of our country, already struggling before the pandemic, has been ravaged. Unemployment is already at an all-time high and will be significantly exacerbated by the pandemic. As part of our institutional duty of care, I will be urging central procurement, as well as procurement in units and departments, to sharpen our focus on small and medium enterprises that have been hardest hit by the lockdown, obviously within the Council-approved procurement framework. In the face of the crisis, we need to be agile and flexible, and I will be asking our Human Resources Department to advise on other mechanisms that will enable us to both proactively and retroactively respond to the concerns of staff. I will approach student development and support with respect to how we widen the safety net for our students. Emerging research, both nationally and internationally, has highlighted the unprecedented impact of the pandemic on the psychological well-being of students, and I have no doubt that research will demonstrate similar findings with respect to staff. In this regard, I'm deeply appreciative of the already existing initiatives implemented by Human Resources and Student Development and Support. I call on every member of our UWC community to rise to the challenge of caring. Let our common humanity, our resilience, and our deep love for this proud institution move us to be among those who make a difference when the world needs us the most. The dehumanizing effect of technology, already prevalent prior to the pandemic, has been exacerbated by our forced working and learning from home. And we need to reassert our humanness through caring for each other. For now, we may not be able to hug or embrace, but caring and empathizing is not limited by physical distancing. When the world comes to grips with COVID-19 and adjusts to the disruption We will not remember speeches like this or the difficulties we experience over this time. We will not necessarily remember the sacrifices we have had to make to rescue what we can amidst the disruption to our lives. For those of us who have had to battle COVID-19, we may not even remember the trauma of testing positive and the illness it brought upon us. What we will remember is how we cared for each other in these unprecedented times. We will remember the loved ones we have lost to COVID-19. We will remember how we have rallied together as a community to ensure those around us benefit from our duty of care. We will remember the kindness shown to us by strangers willing to help their fellow human beings. Now is the time to be a caring community, caring for our colleagues and caring for our students, but very importantly, also caring for ourselves. On an aircraft, the airline announces before takeoff that when there is a sudden loss of aircraft pressure, mask will drop down from the panel above you. Put your mask on first before you help others, they tell us. If you don't look after ourselves and care for ourselves, we are less able to care for others. Now's the time, colleagues and students, to redouble our efforts to better serve our students, staff and community together. I have no doubt that we can. May the Almighty bless UWC and each and every one of you. Thank you.